Hey Chris, how are you, man?
I'm good, and you?
Doing well. I was just wondering, with everything that's going on in the NBA in terms of jersey messaging and how you guys are going to try to use this platform to affect social change. As a Canadian in the NBA playing for a Canadian team, what does that present for you in terms of a unique opportunity to make this message Canadian as well?
I feel like generally it's a world change, and we want everybody to see it. So, obviously, with us coming back, I think the attention will be on us, and as the first team, but the only team in Canada, I think it's a good opportunity for us to show the message and uh, just open some eyes and make people realize that it's something that's going on and it's important to address it.
Do you think people underestimate the degree that exists in Canada and sometimes think it's just a U.S. problem?
It's a lot easier to say that it's not happening in Canada when you see so many stuff happening in the U.S. But I feel like it's everywhere in the world, and um, as much as like you could say that it doesn't happen in Canada, I think it does happen in Canada, and it's important to know that it shouldn't be happening anywhere.
Great. Thanks so much, Chris.
Yeah.
Next up, Mike Ganter, Toronto Sun.
Hey, Chris, how you doing?
I'm good, and you?
Good, thank you. I already asked this to Matt, but I wanted to get your opinion too. I mean, it's been such a weird experience, I'm guessing, down there. Sort of just the team, nobody else around. What's been the best thing about getting down there, and then what's been the hardest thing about being there?
For me, I'm already a homebody. I don't really go out like that, so I don't really see. Besides not being home, I would say the hardest thing is not to see your family and not be around people that you are usually around. So I feel like this is probably the hardest thing, but we get adjusted. It's something that we have to go through, and for somebody like me, it's probably a lot easier just because I'm good with my video game and being home and going to work the next day and just doing my thing. So for me, it's kind of normal, but for somebody that's usually outside and do a lot of activities and stuff like that, I think it's probably harder for them.
So the video game, that's pretty much your downtime then?
Video game, a lot of TV shows, a lot of film. I've learned so much on myself, and just learning so. Like, when you spend a lot of time by yourself, you get the chance to see the stuff that what you really like and what you really don't like, the stuff that you want to work on, and I think that's really what helps me a lot.
All right, appreciate that. Thanks, Chris.
No problem.
Next up, we have Doug Smith of the Toronto Star.
Chris, how are you? Thanks for doing this. Appreciate it very much.
Good. And you?
You're going to play in games where there are going to be no fans and no energy from fans. What can players do to kind of provide that kind of juice that you get from an audience, and how difficult will that be for you guys?
Well, I feel like for us, we'll have to create our own energy. I think we were always a good road team, and for us to be playing on a neutral site where nobody really has their fan or whatever, I think for us it's going to be a good way to show the energy that we brought all year, and we always supported each other, and it was always the 15, 17 guys that were on the team. So I think we'll be good on that, just try to encourage each other and just to bring the energy by ourselves, because obviously we won't have fan to help us over there.
It's also going to be, a lot of people think teams with the best depth, the more guys who can actually play, are going to prevail because of just a situation. How adaptable are you guys to that, and what have you been working on your game to make yourself more valuable and to play maybe more extended minutes once games get going?
For me, it was just to understand the game. I felt like I've been playing the game off my reaction, and I wanted to be able to learn from guys that have been playing for years and just slow the game down, kind of understand the good shot, the better shots. I feel like I was pretty much trigger happy. I've watched film, and some shot I didn't need to take. So that's the stuff that I've worked on. I've worked enormously on my body, just trying to get stronger and be able to take the hits and finish inside. And there's a lot of stuff that by watching film, I was able to understand and understand why sometimes I felt like maybe if I was doing this better, it would help me out. And I focused so much on that just to be able to help the team. Like I said, coach been doing an excellent job, and I'm not here to tell him what to do. I'm just here to get better, and whenever my name is called, I'll be ready to play.
Great. Thanks for that, Chris. I appreciate it.
No problem.
Next up, we have Eric with The Athletic.
Hey, Chris, thanks so much for taking the time. Obviously, anybody who's had a fairly significant injury knows what it's like to go without playing 5-on-5 for a very long time. You've had one. Other than your conditioning, what's the hardest thing to get back when you haven't played 5-on-5 for a few months?
But to be honest with you, the first 2 days was just condition. That's what was the hardest for me. Now I'm feeling like I'm back to where I was. I've been without basketball for a year when I tore my ACL, and I kind of understood. What you need to do and what the stuff that you have to keep doing to feel better, to feel good. And for me, when I tore my ACL, it was my first time not playing for a year and a half or so. It was a lot easier for me in 5 months to figure out ways to stay in shape and work on my body and still be able to come back and be able to play.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Next up, we have Mike again with the Toronto Sun.
Hey, Chris, you mentioned about gaining weight there. It might just be the camera, but you look a little bigger. Did you put on weight over this? And if so, how'd you go about it? Because I remember the last time you were trying to do it, it was pretty hard.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was a lot easier this time just because I kind of figured out a way to how to gain weight, but how to get stronger. I think one of my biggest problems I was never able to see the change, and it's always hard when you feel like you're working hard and you don't see no change. So I figured ways to maintain my weight, gain a little bit more weight every week or two, and one thing that I focused on is my nutrition and what I was drinking and what I was eating. I made sure that whatever I was eating and drinking, or if I worked out and checked on how many calories I lost, just to make sure that I could take that calorie and add more. Because like I said, there's a lot of stuff that I didn't understand about nutrition, and I took the time with COVID-19 to focus on those things.
If you don't mind me asking, how much did you put on?
About 15.
Good for you. Thanks. Appreciate that.
Next up, Chris, we'll go to Mike from L'Express in French.
Bonjour Chris, un grand plaisir de te retrouver. Tu as pratiquement répondu aux questions que je voulais te poser en anglais, mais je vais quand même les poser en français pour tous les francophones. Dis-moi un peu, qu'est-ce que tu as fait pendant la coupure? Est-ce que tu as été capable un peu de t'entraîner? Un peu, qu'est-ce qui s'est passé pour toi?
Le plus des choses que j'ai fait, c'est lift. Ils nous amené des poids haltères et un banc. Et puis ça m'a vraiment aidé parce que je fais lift à chaque jour. J'ai eu la chance de pratiquer sur des choses que je ne pouvais pas, comme j'ai dit, regarder les films, ça m'a aidé beaucoup, juste de voir les shots que je devais prendre et les choses que je devais prendre, les choses que j'aurais pu faire mieux. Comme si j'ai dit, il y a une chose que je sais qu'en regardant le film, je ne faisais pas assez, je n'utilisais pas assez mon pump fake. Et puis, je pense que ça, c'est des choses comme ça qu'il faut que j'utilise beaucoup. Maintenant que le monde sache que je peux shooter, il fallait que je comprenne une façon de changer ma game et pas revenir le même joueur.
Parfait. Et tu as dit aussi que tu as réussi à prendre du poids. C'est passé par quoi?
Je pense que c'était ma nutrition. Comme j'ai dit, j'ai pris 15 livres et ça, c'est juste, comme j'ai dit, c'est juste du muscle. J'ai pas vu que c'était du gras. C'est plus que moi qui est devenu plus fort. J'ai fait attention à ce que je mangeais et bu. Et comme j'ai dit, j'ai regardé beaucoup de vidéos pour savoir ce que je devais faire pour devenir meilleur.
D'accord, merci. Et pour finir, a priori, l'effectif va être au complet. Quel est ton état d'esprit du coup? Est-ce que tu envisages quand même de te battre pour avoir le plus de temps de jeu possible, j'imagine?
En ce moment, on veut juste gagner. Comme je dis, c'est un nouveau format. On ne sait pas comment ça va se passer sans fans et puis avoir 8 games au début pour que le monde commence à savoir qu'est-ce qu'ils veulent faire. Je pense que pour nous, on est juste focus à make sure les 17 personnes peuvent jouer. Parce que comme on dit, on ne sait pas qui peut être blessé, on ne sait pas qu'est-ce qui peut arriver, puis c'est un nouveau format. Alors, c'est ça qu'on focus en, puis essayer de gagner un championnat parce qu'on sait qu'on doit le défendre cette année.
Très bien, merci beaucoup Chris.
Pas de problème.